afternoon, Chair Becker and members of the committee. I want to start by thanking the committee for their thoughtful analysis. AB 1049 is a measure that removes a complicated rule called sponsor deeming from the eligibility determination process in the California Food Assistance Program, commonly referred to as CFAP. CFAP is California's state-funded food assistance program for people who are excluded from federal CalFresh benefits because of their immigration status. At a time when federal actions are leaving more immigrant families without access to food assistance, California must make sure its own safety net programs are clear, accessible, and responsive to the needs of our communities. The current rule muddies the understanding of a person's real financial situation. An individual may look like they have access to resources on paper while they are struggling to afford food to feed their family. This rule also adds confusion and fear to the application process. Families may be unsure whether applying for food assistance will affect their sponsor, their immigration status, or their family's safety. AB 1049 addresses this gap by removing sponsor deeming from CFAP. This change allows eligible families to be evaluated based on the resources they actually have, not income they will never see. AB 1049 strengthens California's food safety net by making CFAP easier for families to access and easier for counties to administer. Today, I have with me Ezer Pamintuan from the Alameda County Community Food Bank and Lena Silver from Neighborhood Legal Services, Los Angeles, to provide testimony.
Okay, welcome to both of you. Go ahead, you have 2 minutes.
Good afternoon, Chair and members of the committee. My name is Ezer Pamintuan, Senior Policy Advocate at Alameda County Community Food Bank, based in Oakland and member of the statewide Food for All Coalition. Most people are aware of the work food banks perform distributing fresh produce and other healthy meals to the community. But equally important is the work we do connecting our neighbors to critical nutrition programs like CalFresh and CFAP, the state-funded equivalent to CalFresh, for Californians ineligible for the federal SNAP program due to their immigration status. The food bank has an interest in ensuring that our immigrant neighbors face fewer barriers to accessing the state-funded equivalent to CalFresh, which currently imposes the burdensome sponsor deeming rule as part of its application process. We urge the committee to advance AB 1049, which would eliminate this rule for CFAP. I would like to read a quote from one of the food bank's outreach associates about their experience guiding clients through the sponsor deeming process. Quote, "There are challenges, especially with advocating with some eligibility workers about which sponsor deeming exemption the client meets. It sometimes makes clients withdraw from the application process because of this. There is often a lot of back and forth, and hard to sometimes show how they are no longer in contact, for example, with their sponsors. Or, the sponsor deeming asks for a lot of paperwork from the sponsor, like bank statements and assets, which can be hard to obtain." End quote. Because of its complexity, the sponsor deeming rule can cause confusion about eligibility during the enrollment process and lead to low-income immigrant families being wrongfully denied benefits that they are perfectly eligible for. At a time when our immigrant neighbors are facing persistent attacks from the federal government, state leaders must do everything they can to streamline access to CFAP for our immigrant neighbors. For these reasons, Alameda County Community Food Bank respectfully urges your aye vote on AB 1049. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Lena Silver, and I'm the Director of Policy and Administrative Advocacy at Neighborhood Legal Services of Los Angeles County. Our office regularly encounters green card holders who are going hungry because of sponsor deeming requirements. California should remove these requirements from CFAP for 3 reasons. First, it has a chilling effect. Eligibility workers often force sponsored green card holders to provide their sponsors' information, which is then remitted to USCIS even when they are exempt. Applicants are afraid that they or their sponsor will get in trouble with the government, so they withdraw their applications. Second, sponsor deeming rules are complex and eligibility workers frequently make errors. They fail to screen for the many exemptions based on indigence, being a domestic violence survivor, living with a sponsor, being admitted in the 4th or 5th years, or having sufficient work quarters. Third, AB 1049 will reduce administrative burdens in the face of unprecedented workloads due to HR1 A worker simply must check whether an applicant has their green card for fewer than 5 years and then skip these complex assessments. Eliminating sponsor deeming would have helped our client, Mr. L., a 70-year-old monolingual Mandarin speaker. He has no income and he struggles with diabetes. He had his green card for 1 year when he applied for CalFresh. His sponsors are an acquaintance no longer in the U.S. and his son who was unhoused. His application was denied because he could not provide sufficient information about his sponsors. The county worker failed to assess him for the indigence exception, which is a very common error. He was left hungry, but if AB 1049 had been in place, he would have been eligible for expedited benefits. At a time when immigrant access to basic needs is more precarious than ever before, this is a simple change that will prevent hunger in California. Thank you.
Thank you. And now we'll look to others that want to add on in support.
Chair, Senator Dean Grafilo with Capital Advocacy here on behalf of Los Angeles County in support of AB 1049.
Yesenia Rabancho with End Child Poverty California in strong support.
Cal Whistler with the California Community Foundation in support.
Thank you.
Simran Kaur with the Western Center on Law and Poverty in support.
Anayeli Martin with the California Food Assistance Program, proud co-sponsors, and also here on behalf of CHIRLA and California Pan Ethnic Health Network in strong support. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kathy Mossberg on behalf of the California Association of Food Banks in support.
Good afternoon, Chair and members. Jonathan Munoz on behalf of First Five Los Angeles in strong support, and we thank the author for her leadership.
Koise Turn with the Coalition of California Welfare Rights Organization in strong support.
Jackie Mendelson with Nourish California, proud co-sponsor of this bill, in strong support, and also on behalf of the California Food and Farming Network in support. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have a lead opposition witness or anyone wants to weigh in opposition? See none, we'll take it back to members. Any comments?
I would, Mr. Chair, thank you.
Vice Chair?
So, you know, I have a hard time sometimes trying to balance between so much administrative requirements and walking through those loopholes along with responsible accountability as far as ensuring that people don't take advantage of the system. You know, in light of the many reports that we've had in regards to fraudulent efforts by nefarious folks out, you know, we're always going to have folks that have ill intent and abuse of the system that is so incredibly generous that we have both at the state and the federal level in the past. One of the biggest concerns that we've had in the past that we were trying to, in my opinion, trying to assess and try to address is folks taking advantage of our systems. When it comes to food assistance, we have an incredibly generous system where we, you know, there's so many levels of people and organizations coming in and trying to address hunger in our state. I appreciate Senator Hurtado's effort, you know, once again, creating another layer of trying to have everybody come in under one umbrella so that people can have access to everything that's currently available, because there's so many angles that we're trying to address hunger, so many levels. I'm actually hesitant to support anything that takes away some accountability as far as trying to show that you do have a need or that there is a need. Though I appreciate the example, and my heart breaks for that gentleman that went without because he didn't have the right paperwork to be able to, I feel for that, for situations like that. But had the county done its job as far as assessing and rightly placing him where he needed to be, would he have been able to get the help that he needed? So that is the question I had. So was it more of an enforcement? And the failure of the county to be able to enforce and do its job right, that we failed him, because otherwise he should have had the help that he needed. Yes?
Mic is off. There we go. Yeah, in this particular situation, yes. This is a complex rule that is hard to address in 2 minutes, which is kind of why we're here. But one of the primary exemptions that are often assessed too late is the indigence exception, which basically, if your current income is less than 130% of the federal poverty line, which is most people apply for this benefit, the sponsor deeming process shouldn't move forward, and there's no need to contact the sponsor. But there are so many eligibility rules in CFAP and in CalFresh, and this is, again, one of the more complex ones, and the order of operation is very confusing. So we do often see that the problem is that the county worker process or the difficulty of this rule. That being said, it's almost always that we're seeing this happen. I've been doing this for 11 years now, and it's very rare that a sponsor deeming assessment, once it gets to our office, we look through it, that sponsor deeming should actually apply. Just kind of like, this is do the least harm to prevent hunger, knowing that many, many people are eligible for these exceptions. Also, I'll point out it's only for the first 3 years of admission under the current law. Then this rule drops away in years 4 and 5, and then it comes back with federal eligibility after 5 years of admission because of something called the 5-year bar, which thanks to CFAP we don't have in those first 5 years. So the administrative burden is very high. It's common that people are eligible for the exemption but are inappropriately assessed. And then if it's not that, though, it's the chilling effect of it being asked on the application, of often county workers asking for information about the sponsor before they're assessing for exemptions. Yeah, I think, and then, speaking to questions of fraud, like I said, I've been doing this for 11 years, and the biggest threat, the fraud threat to our safety net is still EBT theft. Is external nefarious actors that are threatening and taking, millions from our state every month, honestly. It's extremely rare that we see fraud accusations that are based in that actual intent and not in actually these very complex rules that are difficult for people to understand and navigate in terms of reporting.
And that's on the administrative side, right?
Yeah, it's the whole ecosystem, but yes, that would be on the administrative side too, and the barriers people have to reporting at this point.
So I'm going to make just one comment, because like I said, I in general, I have a really hard time trying to balance the accountability part of it with the administrative, which usually when we talk about government systems, they're incredibly burdensome.
Correct.
Incredibly burdensome. Having said that, question, and as far as the administrative part of it, as a tool, and I know we're probably going to see this more as we're been having conversations in programs that are being impacted by error per se, or fraud on that end, but would it be helpful to use and have AI tools to help assist on the administrative side, to help navigate the rules that we currently have, in order to protect the system but still be able to be efficient and effective in the work that they do moving forward, especially when we talk about protecting a system?
I don't know that I could speak to that so broadly. I think there's always a role for for using technology to advance our access to benefit system, whether that be to reduce administrative burden, to help us with our error rate.
Yeah.
That is a huge threat. So I'll kind of leave that there. But in terms of sponsor deeming, I don't know if it could really be applied there. This is about forcing someone who's likely exempt to contact their sponsor, to send their information to USCIS. People often don't understand the difference between USCIS, which just is immigration application processing, and immigration enforcement, ICE and DHS, that we see workers taking liberties and telling people, are you sure you want to apply for this benefit? Because I'm going to send your sponsor's information to USCIS, and you and your sponsor are going to get in trouble, and you could get deported. We've heard these stories. There's a lot of conflation. We're trying to remove any fear about immigration enforcement and benefit access, which then has ripple effects in the community in terms of rumors people hear. If you're a green card holder, don't apply for benefits. You and your sponsor will get in trouble, regardless of your sponsor's current capacity to support you or to be even in contact with you oftentimes. So it's just so confounding. And I'll say too, in terms of any folks trying to take advantage, historically, we have huge underutilization of public benefits in immigrant communities. There are so many reasons for that, but sponsor deeming is a major one. Misconceptions about it, conflation of it with the public charge rule, and with privacy and safety in using public benefits and how that can interact with immigration enforcement. So reducing one more barrier for people who need food to live is why this bill is being brought today.
Okay. See no other comments. I want to thank you for the bill. It will be supporting it today. As you note, and it's noted in the analysis, the sponsor deeming is not a federal requirement to access CFAP. And I do think it will result in streamlining. I also appreciate the specific example. That's always very helpful. We have a specific example. Even though it's one case, it just lets us sort of understand the implications much better. So we'll be supporting the bill today. Would you like to close?
Yes, I just want to thank the Senator for her comments and Ms. Silver for responding. I think even the exchange kind of elevates how unnecessary and confusing this rule is and why it's a barrier for so many families in need of assistance. Also, I think just I want to recognize, as an Assembly member who grew up facing food insecurity and represents a community that has many mixed status family members and has had the most ICE actions last year than any other place, that when people go hungry, they're not trying to go through administrative barriers to get food to game any sort of system. They're trying to feed their children. And I think it's so important, especially in the climate right now, when perhaps there are food banks that are accessible to some communities. In places like my community, getting in line that wraps around the block when there's a fear that someone might take you is not an option. And so ensuring that we're removing barriers where we can and not adding to the administrative burden that people have to do while they're truly evaluating eligibility is what this is about. 1049 ensures that eligible immigrant families are not blocked from food assistance. With that, I just want to recognize and thank how many sponsors and supporters we have of this bill. You heard from some of them today, and I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Okay, thank you. Please call the roll. Oh, do we have a motion? Do we have a motion? A motion from Dr. Weber?
File item 2, AB 1049. Motion is to pass to Appropriations Committee. Becker?
Aye.
Becker, aye. Achobog? Laird?
No.
Oh, Achobog, no. Laird? Perez? Weber Pearson? Weber Pearson, aye.
Okay, there's 2-1. We will leave that bill on call.
Thank you.